Ranboo's ghost is slowly decaying on the Dream SMP, which might mean he may completely die. Now, yesterday's stream started off with Ranboo saying that he wanted to visit the mansion. If you didn't know, AMZ recently moved into the mansion and took over one of the rooms, with Ranboo's permission of course. So Ranboo heads over to the mansion and sees on the front door a bunch of glowstone with some signs saying that you are gone. He doesn't really understand what this means and assumes that maybe somebody had broken into the mansion. He then walks through the front door and sees a barrel with a sign that says you lied. Inside the barrel is a red tulip. This convincing him that somebody had gone through and robbed the mansion, so he heads towards AMZ's room to check on her and make sure everything is alright. And walking into her room, he sees no trace of her, as if all of her stuff had gone. Ranboo looks noticeably worried and starts to head around other rooms in the mansion to make sure nothing else was taken when he was robbed, and comes to the conclusion that AMZ may be hiding out at her cafe due to all of this happening. So he heads over to the cafe to talk to AMZ and ask what had happened, and AMZ says that she got evicted from the mansion because she died, and says that the person who killed her was Tubbo. If you didn't know, the other day, Tubbo pushed her off of the bridge. I'll play the clip right now.
Tell me.
Give me some space.
Tell me. You say you want us so bad? Go on. I just... And there we go. My blood's on your hands.
AMZ begins to get more and more upset with Ranboo, asking whether Ranboo is dead, as for the 5 days that she's been on the server, she had no idea that he may be actually a ghost and not alive. Ranboo tries to swerve the question and doesn't answer it straight away, till eventually he says yes, and admits to being murdered. He takes off all of his armor to show her how he was stabbed. He asks AMZ how she found out, and AMZ responds with saying that Tubbo had told her in a pit of rage. Ranboo begins to apologize for everything and says that he shouldn't have lied to her, and AMZ says they can't go back to being good friends together if Ranboo can't promise to tell the truth, as she knows that he is hiding a lot of stuff. AMZ goes on to ask Ranboo what Tubbo has gone through, and Ranboo says that he can't tell her because it isn't his story to tell, and that she shouldn't care about what Tubbo has gone through and should just move on. But AMZ just wants a place to belong and wants to understand people and their reasonings behind their actions. She says that she can't live in the mansion no more, but will continue to rebuild it and decorate the insides to make it look nice and eventually habitable, and Ranboo just wants none of this to ever happen again. He apologizes again and says that he didn't want her to know any of this, but is glad she knows now, and says to her that he's going to go and see his son Michael. On the way to his home, he mentions how he doesn't understand why Tubbo did any of this, and says that he just needs to distract himself from every situation going on. Ranboo also mentions how he's disappointed in everyone and thought that somebody would attempt to try and revive him, but it seems like nobody has really cared about him. Once he arrives home, he takes off all of his armor and sees his skin starting to fade. It's fading of all its color, signifying that maybe this ghost version won't last too long and might go away if somebody doesn't bother reviving him. He quickly writes in his do not read book, "I didn't want to, I thought it would protect you," and then the screen goes black saying reconnect them. What I assume with this fading of his skin is that if they don't reconnect him with his alive soul and alive version, as was mentioned earlier in the stream,
What happens when I die is that the soul and the mind become two separate things. They become two things where my mind is left here to wander while my soul is trapped in a pit, just feeling everything that I experience. And if the soul fades, then there's no going back. I just thought that people would have cared enough by now to bring me back, but no one has even tried, and it's been months.
then Ghostboo might not be around for too long and might actually die, along with Ranboo, his alive version that's currently in limbo, which means that he needs to get a few people together to help him get revived, or else he's gone. And as we know, Dream has escaped the prison, so currently he's in hiding and he's on the outside somewhere, and he has the revive book, which is pretty much needed to revive Ranboo. There is other ways we've seen, but I think Ranboo may have to confront his fears and maybe talk to Dream. Anyway, make sure to check out the video which is on screen right now. We talk about the newest members of the Dream SMP. You don't want to miss it.